screaming in fear, but I don't remember any of it. I think God made me black out so I wouldn't remember the pain. Was not something. The pain and panic over the sight of my brother's crushed body. A helicopter airlifted him to the hospital. When I visited Brian days later, he was in a full body cast. From what I could see, he'd broken nearly every bone in his body, and the detail that drove it all home for me as a kid was that he had to pee through a hole in the cast. The other thing I couldn't help but notice was that the whole room was full of toys. My parents were so grateful he'd survived, and they felt so bad for him that during his recovery, every day was Christmas. My mom catered to my brother because of guilt. She still defers to him to this day. It's funny how one split second can change a family's dynamics forever. The accident made me much closer to my brother. Our bond was formed out of my sincere, genuine recognition of his pain. Once he came home from the hospital, I couldn't leave his side. I slept beside him every night. He couldn't sleep in his own bed because he still had the full body cast. So he had a special bed, and they had to set up a little mattress for me at the foot of it. Sometimes I'd climb into his bed and just hold him. Once the cast came off, I continued to share a bed with him for years. Even as a very little girl, I knew that between the accident and how hard our dad was on him, my brother had a difficult life. I wanted to bring him comfort. Finally, after years of this, my mom told me, "Brittany, now you're almost in the 6th grade. You need to start sleeping by yourself." I said no. I was such a baby. I did not want to sleep by myself, but she insisted, and finally I had to give in. Once I started to stay in my own room, I came to enjoy having my own space, but I remained extremely close to my brother. He loved me, and I loved him so much. For him, I felt the most endearing, protective love. I didn't want him ever to be hurt. I'd seen him suffer too much already. As my brother got better, we became heavily involved with the community. Since it was a small town of just a couple thousand people, everyone came out to support the 3 main parades a year: Mardi Gras, 4th of July, Christmas. The whole town looked forward to them. The streets would be lined with people smiling, waving, leaving behind the drama of their lives for a day to have fun watching their neighbors slowly wander by on Highway 38. One year, a bunch of us kids decided to decorate a golf cart and put it in the Mardi Gras parade. There were probably 8 kids in that golf cart, way too many, obviously. There were 3 on the bench seat, a couple standing on the sides holding on to the little roof, and 1 or 2 swinging from the back. It was so heavy that the tires of the cart were almost flat. We all wore 19th century costumes. I can't even remember why. I was sitting on the laps of the bigger kids up front, waving at everyone. The problem was, with that many kids in a golf cart and its flat tires, the thing got hard to control, and with the laughing and the waving and the excited energy, well, we only hit the car ahead of us a few times. But that was enough for us to get expelled from the parade.